A very good morning, children. In today's class of economic application, we shall study about the central problem of an economy. Before we go on to discuss about the central problem, we shall first have a quick recap on what we did in the last class. Well, in the last class, we studied about the basic problem of economy, where we discussed about the causes of economic problem. Okay, so today's class is what? The central problem of an economy. Okay, where we will study what? We will discuss in detail about what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Alright, first, what is a central problem then? Well, you see, a central problem of an economy is a problem which is faced by all the economies around the world, whether it is an Indian economy or an American economy. Okay, so before we go on to discuss about the problems, let us try to see some reason behind this problem. As you know, every problem has a reason behind it, isn't it? So what is the reason behind this problem of an economy then? Well, the reason is human wants are unlimited, isn't it? And the resources to satisfy these wants are limited, and on top of that, these resources have alternative uses. Okay, so human wants are unlimited, so which want to satisfy first? Okay, and the resources are what? Limited, isn't it? So which goods are to be produced first? Okay, and these resources have alternative uses, so where to allocate these resources first? So there comes a choice, there comes a problem of choice in the economy. Okay, so this, the central problem of economy is nothing but the compulsion of making a choice as to what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce is referred to as central problem of an economy. Okay, so what is the central problem of economy? A central problem of an economy is actually a compulsion of what? Making a choice as to what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Alright, so now we will see these three central problems of economy in detail, stepwise. Okay, first is what to produce. Well, what is this problem, what to produce? Well, what to produce is a problem that is related with what goods are to be produced and how much is to be produced. Okay, so when we talk about goods, there are two types of goods. First is the consumer goods, isn't it? And second is what? Capital goods. Now, what is a consumer good then? Well, see, consumer goods are the goods which are consumed by the consumers every day. Like, for example, say bread and butter, right? Then tea and coffee. I'm just citing an example. Soap and shampoos. These are some of the examples of consumer's good. Okay, or what to then I was saying consumer good or capital good. What is the capital goods then? Well, capital goods are all those goods which are used by the producer to produce goods. Okay, so what are those goods then? What are the capital goods? Examples, like for example, buildings, like factory buildings, equipments, then tools, etc. These are some examples of capital goods. So the first problem, what to produce, is whether to produce consumer good or to produce capital goods. Okay, so whether to produce more of the capital goods or less of the consumer good, or more of the consumer good or less of the consumer good, this is one of the central problem of an economy. Alright, so let's see the second one then. Well, the second problem is how to produce. Okay, once your problem of what to produce, okay, and how much to produce is been solved, then comes another problem, that is what? How to produce. Okay, now what is this problem related to then? Well, this problem of how to produce is related to what? Is related to the choice of technique of production. Okay, now what do I mean by the technique of production then? Well, there are two techniques that has been that you can adopt while producing one particular product. Okay, what are those? First, labor intensive method. Okay, second is capital intensive method. First of all, what do you mean by labor intensive method then? Well, in labor intensive method, you make use of more labor, human labor, Okay, then the capital. Then capital means the machineries or the modern methods of production. More of human labor, less of modern technical production or machineries. Okay, then what is a capital intensive method then? The capital intensive method is a method where you make use of more and more modern technical production and machines and less of human labor. Okay. So, here it depends upon the type of economy you have. In a country like India, where, cheap labor is available plentifully. Okay, in such economy, the economy might, usually they make use of labor intensive method, more of labor because labor is cheaply available. Okay, then the capital. In a country like America, where labor is very expensive, they make use of what? Capital intensive method. More of capital and less of labor. Okay, but whether it is a capital intensive method or a labor intensive method, in both the method also the problem arises. Like for example, see, I'll give you an example of one product. Say for example, handlooms. Making of cloth, manufacturing of cloth can be made adopting traditional method. Where human beings are engaged in making the a special old kind of method, old type of machinery you have, the hand machines to make the cloth, isn't it? You make use of that method. What happens? That is a traditional method where you engage more of the labor and less of the machine. Machine is almost like zero, but many laborers are employed. Okay, but here the problem is that a lot of time is wasted. And say for example, in 1 hour, hardly a meter of cloth will be manufactured. Okay, so but a lot of labor is engaged here. Okay, but in the meantime, if you make use of, see, in labor intensive method of making a handloom or a cloth, lot of energy is wasted, time is wasted, but what about the output? Output is very less. Okay, and suppose if you make use of the modern technique of producing a textile or a cloth, then here what happens, in 1 hour you may be producing what? Bundles and bundles of cloth. Okay, but here what happens, you are making use of maximum capital, the machine, and human is like only maybe a human labor is, I think, used only for to keep the switch on and off, only for that maybe. Okay, so in such situation what happens, in 1 hour you'll be producing a lot, but what will be the problem? Problem is what? Machine will replace man. So what happens? There will be a lot of unemployment problem. Unemployment problem means it is directly related, it's related to poverty, isn't it? Unemployment means it will lead to poverty. Poverty means a great problem for an economy, isn't it? So whether it is a labor intensive method or an so-called capital intensive method, problem is there in both. So this is also another central problem that has to be faced by an economy. Alright, now let us switch on to the next problem, that is for whom to produce. Okay, what is this problem related to then? Well, for whom to produce is a problem related to the distribution of goods. That is, how should the goods be distributed? Okay, so when I say distribution, well, distribution is of two types. Alright, first is the personal distribution and second is functional distribution. Okay, what do you mean by personal distribution? Well, personal distribution means distribution of goods among the individual and the household. Okay, and functional distribution means distribution of goods among the factors of production. Factors of production here mean who? The landowners, then we have workers, capitalists, etc. Understood? So these are the three central problems of economy we saw today. That is, what to produce. What to produce is I told you in the very first that what to produce is what goods are to be produced and for whom to be produced. Okay, you've got to make a choice here. Once what to produce is over, then comes the problem of how to produce, which technique to adopt. That is also a main problem that economy faces. Then goes to the distribution of the product that has been made. Alright, so these are the three problems that an economy, whether it's an Indian economy or any economy in the world, has to face. Well, so this is all that we are going to deal today. That is what we did today is the central problem of economy, where we discuss in detail what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Okay, so stay connected. We are going to continue this lesson in the next video lesson. Alright, so till then, keep revising and stay safe.